The chains were too heavy for their wrists. Graka knew that was the point. Orcs did not bind their own unless they were already dead in the eyes of the tribe. The chains were not meant to hold her body. They were meant to hold her fate. Beside her walked Ura, her younger sister, her only sister. Ura did not cry. Orcs did not cry in front of others. But Graka could see the tightness in her jaw, the tremble in her hands. They were being led to the slaughter pit. The pit waited at the edge of the camp. It was an old place, older than memory, older than forgiveness. Graka remembered when they were young. They had played near it. They had thrown stones inside and listened for the sound. They had never heard the bottom. Now they would find it. The guards said nothing. They did not look at them. Shame moved with them like a shadow. Infertile the word had spread through the tribe like rot. Orc life was war and birth, strength and legacy. To fail at one was to fail at all. They had tried everything: shamans, herbs, rituals, pain, hope. Nothing worked. No child came. So now they would be given to the pit. Their strength wasted. Their blood returned to the earth. Ura leaned close. "I am afraid," she whispered. Graka wanted to lie. She did not. "So am I." They reached the pit. The crowd waited, silent, watching. The chief stood at the edge. His old face was carved from stone. "It must be done," he said. Graka nodded. She understood. Understanding did not make it hurt less. The guards pushed them forward. Then a voice spoke. "Stop." It was a strange voice, soft, not orc. The crowd shifted. Murmurs rose. Graka turned. The human walked forward. He was small, smaller than any orc, thin, fragile, breakable. Yet he walked without fear. His name was Daniel. He had come months ago, alone, no armor, no weapon. The tribe had laughed at him. Then he had healed the chief's wound when the shamans failed. He had set broken bones. He had eased pain. He had stayed. Now he stood between them and the pit. The chief frowned. "This is not your matter, human." Daniel looked at him. "It is." His voice did not shake. The chief's eyes narrowed. "They cannot give life." Daniel nodded slowly. "I know." Silence stretched. Graka felt anger rise inside her. Why was he here? Why was he making this harder? Daniel turned. He looked at her, not with pity, with something else: respect. "They can still save lives," the chief growled. "Orcs are not healers." Daniel gestured to himself. "I was not an orc, but I became part of your tribe." The chief did not answer. Daniel took a breath. "The sickness in your children, the fever that kills them." A ripple moved through the crowd. Everyone knew it. The child fever, it came without warning. Strong children died in days. Nothing stopped it. Daniel continued. "I know why it happens." The chief's eyes widened. "You lie." Daniel shook his head. "It is the water." Confusion spread. Daniel pointed toward the river. "There is poison in it, not poison made by intent. Poison from the black stone in the hills. It seeps into the water. It weakens the young. It harms those who try to carry life." Graka froze. Ura grabbed her arm. "Hope, dangerous hope." The chief stepped forward. "Why do you say this now?" Daniel met his gaze. "Because I know how to stop it." The crowd erupted. Voices, shouts, disbelief. The chief raised his hand. Silence returned. "What does this have to do with them?" Daniel pointed at Graka and Ura. "They cannot bear children because they survived longer, because their bodies endured the poison. They are strong enough to live, but the poison scarred them. Graccha's heart pounded. Daniel's voice grew stronger. They are not weak. He paused. They are proof of strength. The chief stared at them, really stared. Not as failures, as survivors. Daniel continued. I can show you how to filter the water, how to make it safe, but it will take time, effort, care. He looked at Graccha. They can help me. The chief frowned. Why them? Daniel answered without hesitation. Because they know pain. Because they know loss. Because they will protect every child like their own. Silence fell again. Graccha felt every eye on her. Her chains felt lighter. The chief stepped closer. He stood in front of her. You would serve. Graccha lifted her head. Yes. Her voice was steady. Yura spoke beside her. We both would. The chief studied them. Long, hard. Then he turned to Daniel. If you fail, Daniel nodded. I know. The chief raised his hand. The guards unlocked the chains. Graccha gasped. The weight fell away. She was free, not dead free. The chief spoke. Prove their worth. Human. Daniel bowed his head. I will. Days became weeks. Daniel worked without rest. He showed them how to dig deep wells, how to use sand and charcoal to clean water, how to boil it. Graccha and Yura stayed. Beside him, they carried stone. They built. They learned. Some orcs watched with doubt. Some with anger. Some with hope. The first child to drink the clean water lived. Then another. Then another. The fever faded. The tribe changed. Slowly, quietly. One evening, Yura sat beside the new well. Children played nearby. Their laughter filled the air. Yura spoke softly. I thought my life ended at the pit. Graccha nodded. So did I. Yura looked at the children. I still cannot give life. Daniel sat down beside them. You give more than that. Yura frowned. How Daniel pointed. You protect it. Graccha watched the children run. One small boy tripped. He cried. Graccha stood and walked to him. She lifted him gently. He clung to her, trusted her. She felt something warm inside her chest, something new, something strong. She carried him back to the others. That night the chief approached Daniel. You changed them. Daniel shook his head. No. He looked at Graccha and Yura. They changed everything. Seasons passed. The tribe grew. Children lived. The pit stood empty. No. Chains waited beside it. One day, a young girl ran to Graccha. She threw her arms around her leg. Mother Graccha, she said. Graccha froze. She looked down. The girl smiled. Graccha felt tears in her eyes. She did not hide them. She placed her hand on the girl's head. She looked at Daniel. He smiled, not with pride, with quiet certainty. Human strength was not in muscle, not in size. It was in seeing worth where others saw none. It was in refusing to accept that death was the only answer. Graccha had been sent to die. Instead, she lived, not as a failure, as something greater, as a protector, as a builder, as family. And the pit remained empty, because one human had done something simple. He had said no, asterisk.